One Punch Man fans are super pissed about this, but you know, I think we have to have a conversation here, which is why I made this video, and I think by the end of it, you'll feel maybe better, maybe worse, depending on what I'm about to tell you, to be honest, because I think people are kind of missing something here. At least a lot of people are, that I think we're not really talking about. So let's get into it. But also, you know, I know this PV came out like a couple days ago already, but I was kind of sick. I've been kind of sick for the last couple days, if you can't tell from my voice. But you know, during the time that I was sick, like just before I went to bed, this PV came out for season 3 of One Punch Man. And at first, when I saw that there was like a new video for One Punch Man that was officially released, that my first thought was that it was a trailer, that we're finally getting a trailer, finally getting a director for this season and official release date for the season. We knew it was coming in 2025, but we weren't exactly sure when, and we don't even know exactly who's directing the entire season yet. Now, we did get confirmation that the season is going to be dropping in October of 2025. We still have not, at least to my knowledge, gotten any confirmation on who's going to be the main director overseeing the entirety of the season. Now, not having a director to this point, or not knowing who he is, again, you can correct me if there already is one in the comments, but that was always kind of concerning to me, because like, why isn't that being revealed yet? And honestly, these concerns kind of carried into this PV that was released, because again, I thought it was a trailer. And for those of you that don't know what a PV versus a trailer is, a PV stands for promotional video. You would think it sounds like a trailer, but it's not. It's pretty much just like a showcase of the characters and kind of like what you're gonna expect in terms of art style for the season itself. Even that being said, this PV that came out, when I first watched it, I was honestly like, I was in disbelief. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I was like, you know, I was already sick. I was, you know, close to going to sleep, but then I got these notifications that, you know, this had come out, and I watched it with excitement, you know what I mean? Because any bit of new One Punch Man season 3 news should be met with some excitement, right? Because we don't get that much of it. I watched the PV and honestly, I absolutely hated it. Like I hated the color palette. I hated the like animation style or lack thereof, to be honest. And also kind of the designs of like the characters in certain spots. For example, the way that like Zombie Man was portrayed in like his one solo image in the PV, I thought looked pretty not good. That was just my opinion. And also like one of my biggest, which just sounds like a really stupid gripe, but like one of my favorite scenes in like kind of like the build up to the Monster Association arc, which is what season 3 is going to primarily cover, is kind of when like all the S-class heroes are meeting up, and there's a moment where King arrives, you know, from funny circumstances, like where he just was, and like his entrance in the manga to, you know, the meeting that the S-class heroes have, I thought it was like one of the funnier moments like leading up to the Monster Association arc. Honestly, in this PV, it shows him approaching the S-class heroes. It's also funny, but it's different. The reason why it's funny is very different, because he looks ridiculous walking. I don't understand what that walking animation was that they used for him. Like, it looked like he was like literally like waddling from side to side. It was super weird. I mean, that's beside the point. That's like petty stuff to be worried about, to be honest. But honestly, my first impressions of the PV was like, wow, this really sucks. I even made a post about it on this channel. I think, you know, I felt what probably a lot of people were feeling, that like, A, we kind of have trailer expectations and we only got like 20 seconds of like still images, and B, it seemed like it was just JC staff back at it again with the weird color choices, the not so great animation, and this time you kind of think, what's the excuse this time, right? Like, they had not that much time to work on season 2, so you can kind of give them a pass for that. But for this season, like, they've had literally years to get something done, and it seems like they're literally back to where they were 5 years ago, you know what I mean? So that was super disappointing. But again, like I said, the purpose for this video is to kind of give you guys some insight and so like kind of like a bird's eye view of things. What we're seeing right now is not exactly what it might seem to be. Like, maybe give you some hope for season 3, but also maybe give you some frustration, because again, it does kind of worry me, these like little details that I feel like no one's really talking about. But first, I want to give a big shout out to my friends over at Raycon. Living the YouTuber life for a while now, I probably spend more time at my desk than I do even sleeping. So to get moving a bit, I started working out again, and my Raycon earbuds have been absolutely instrumental to me keeping that going. They have a 32-hour battery life and charge super quickly in general, giving you 1.5 hours of battery life in just 10 minutes of charging. which is absolutely amazing for me personally, by the way, because I always forget to charge my stuff, and forgetting to charge my headphones isn't going to get in the way of me working out anymore. So to get active again, I've been trying to do the infamous Saitama workout routine in hopes of breaking my limiter, or at least losing some of that winter fat I've been building up. So I need to have my hands free for all the push-ups and the running and stuff. Well, Raycons let you control the volume, pause and skip songs, along with other useful features right on the earbuds themselves, with just a few simple taps. They even come with active noise cancellation, which is really hard to find at a reasonable price point for earbuds. And that's another thing I really like about Raycons, because they have a great build and sound quality without being overpriced like some of the other brands that are out there right now. But you, my fellow anime enjoyers, can get an even better deal, because if you click the link in my description right now and use code ANIMEX at checkout, you can get an additional 15% off these earbuds. So get your pair and let's hop into this Saitama training arc together, but for now let's get back to the video. And let me just start with this. So a big thing that was kind of pointed out after this, the fallout from all this, was that this PV was made completely separate from the anime itself by one person. Now I can't remember their name off the top of my head, but it was pretty much just one animator working on this entire PV, which, okay, you know, I understand that like they need to put something out to kind of start promoting the season, but you know, I thought it was kind of odd the fact that they would make something entirely separate from the anime itself to promote the third season, when like honestly the quality of it wasn't very good. I mean, the fact that they had one animator working on this solely like makes it to where, for me, I want to give the animator a pass. Like, it's not his fault, you know. I'm not really putting any blame on the animation studio, to be honest. Like, the sole blame for me should be like maybe not even so much the studio, but like the people, the powers that be that like are in charge of the marketing and the resources for this season. Because like, in what world do you think a promo video like this at this quality would make fans happy, like when they've been waiting for a trailer or even a director for so long? You know what I mean? When we got that you know, teaser trailer of like the Garo versus the two monsters fight, like that was pretty hype, like because not only was the animation pretty good, you know, that was a very good starting point. Like, to go from that to a promotional video that literally, like, the color palette is completely different, there's like very little animation. But I also want to remind people, like, there is still that teaser trailer. So people that are saying this PV trailer has nothing to do with season 3 itself, it's just kind of like a hype video almost, there is some credence to that, because the season 3 teaser trailer with Garo and like seeing him fight, I feel like is a closer indication, or at least I'm hoping to be honest, I'm hoping is a closer indication as to how the season's actually going to turn out. But the real issue here for me is, again, going back to like why they decided to come out with this at this time. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they just needed like something to push out there to announce that the season is coming in October, which I guess is fine, but at the same time, it kind of makes you worry about the direction of where season 3 is really going. And that's kind of the meat of what I wanted to talk about with this season, or with this video, I mean. Something that I feel like people aren't really discussing, because there's always like the argument, oh, well, this is just a PV worked on by one animator, so it's not going to represent season 3. But then there's also people saying either way, it's like garbage. So like, why would they even put something like that out? Honestly, the bigger conversation we should be having here is the direction in which One Punch Man as a whole has really been taken. Not just the anime, I'm also talking about like the manga and like the overall marketing of the IP in general. You know what I mean? Because look, again, I could totally understand that the PV isn't great because of like other circumstances, like only one animator, him maybe not having a whole lot of time to do so, things like that. But like, you have to kind of that begs the question then, like, why was that the case? Like, why are we 5 years removed from season 2, having already, like, season 3 was announced like over a year ago now? Why are we still having these like seemingly having to come up with these excuses? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are there these missteps in the process? Because you don't see this with major anime. Like, you don't see Jujutsu Kaisen have like a really mid-looking promotional video, or, you know, any of its art looking kind of suspect before the season actually comes out. Like, you don't have that with, let's say, even Solo Leveling. That's been like one of those anime that's really taken off this year because of its amazing animation. Like, you don't see that with well-run productions, right? JC's staff could turn things around from here and like put out banger trailers. Like, I really, really hope they do. Like, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer this entire video, but I'm a concerned fan. I'm gonna be real. Like, I'm on the side of caution here. Just the way all this stuff has been handled is not good. And like, the same applies for the manga itself. You know what I mean? Because right now we're in an arc that's been redrawn for the third time now. Like, it's the third version of the same exact arc. Like, where do you see that in any other manga?
You can't keep getting away with it!
But again, it like starts with the top. Like, the people that are in charge of this season and like the progression of the IP in the series as a whole, I don't know what they're thinking, man. I'm not gonna lie. I really don't know what they're thinking. Like, in this promotional video just really hammered it home for me, because, you know, why are we creating promotional videos that are completely separate from the anime if the anime has allegedly been in production for like years now, right? We're 8 months away from the season release. Why haven't we seen anything, again, with like directors, maybe even like teaser scenes or a promotional video from the actual anime itself? Like, what does that tell us? It tells us that potentially the anime isn't ready enough to isn't ready at all to any capacity, besides maybe that little like teaser trailer that we got at the very beginning, like a year and a half ago. You know, that might tell us like, okay, they have like the first episode or like, you know, stuff like that kind of finished up, but they don't have a majority of the series actually done, which I think is very, very concerning, to be honest. And I don't know, at this point, like, it's like that one meme with that one dude, like, I'm just tired, boss. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been waiting for this for super long. I've been as optimistic as I potentially could possibly be, you know, for like forever now. I still love this series. I'm still gonna love One Punch Man, of course, but like, I'm honestly pretty disheartened with like how mismanaged such an important IP to a lot of people is just being handled. You know what I mean? It's just not, it doesn't seem like a top tier production or a top tier IP, when in reality it is. Like, it does well in sales, it does well with the fan base. Like, people love One Punch Man. It honestly became a cult classic from the first season. Like, there's a lot of kind of like hype out there for this season to be good, which is why I feel like the reaction to this PV has been so negative. And, you know, people have a right to be upset. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not trying to tell you like, hey, don't be upset, but like, at the same time, like, we do have to kind of like chill out a bit when it comes to like where our, you know, discontent is being directed at, because again, it's like usually not animators' faults. Like, animators are animators, especially in this like super cutthroat industry, because they love the craft. They love to draw, they love to animate. We have to respect that, right? Like, they do the best that they can with what they're given. We can't blame them for them being given not much, you know what I mean? So, you know, be upset. Honestly, it's healthy to be upset when you feel upset, obviously, and like, don't let people like that are just like blindly supporting everything it is about One Punch Man just because it's One Punch Man. Don't let them kind of like misguide you and think like, oh, like, you're just a downer for being upset that this PV wasn't that great, or like, no, it's actually pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, people coping. Like, no, it is not very good. Objectively, I think it's pretty bad. I mean, I don't know if this is a hot take, but like, I'm sorry if I upset some of you guys saying this, but I just want to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, I want to enjoy One Punch Man for what it is. I want to celebrate it when things go really, really well. And I also want to be able to criticize it when things aren't going so well. So just keep that in mind. And again, I wanted to have this conversation with you guys about like the fact that I feel like not too many people are talking about like the real concern here, the real problem, which is like the marketing and like the management of the actual projects. Like, people are like poo-pooing on the animators. They're poo-pooing on like the people that are hating on the PV, etc. But like, no one is directing their hate, or at least I feel like a lot of people aren't directing their hate towards where it really should be, which is the people in charge of this stuff, giving the people the time and the resources they need, and the people making the shots that are like, okay, yeah, this promotional video is good enough to put out for a release date. Honestly, whoever okayed this should be fired. Like, just straight up, point blank, should be fired.
You're fired!
What are you doing, bro? What are you doing? And to be honest, just to make it clear, I'm still very optimistic for season 3. I still think it's going to be good. I honestly, genuinely still think it's going to be a step up from season 2. And I'm honestly mostly hanging my head on that like teaser trailer from a while ago, because if they can produce something that good, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, like, and they have more time to work on this, like, things should be okay, you know? It's just like the marketing that's pretty trash, honestly. But hopefully that improves as well. So yeah, I just wanted to give my thoughts on everything here, and also shout out to Raycon again for sponsoring this video. But that's gonna be it for this one. Have an absolutely wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, whatever, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.